Best believe I'm still bejeweled. When I walk in the room, I can still make the whole place shimmer. First of all, I just have to say, new era, new house.
New house. I can't believe she did this for us. Our first video in the new house, in the new space, is the day after Taylor Swift announces new album.
Surely too perfect. Like, I don't know what it is, the universal like correlation between us and Taylor Swift and how things just manifest and work out is wild. If you don't know, especially here on YouTube, you may have seen over on our Instagram. If you're on Patreon, you definitely know the last couple of weeks we have been very busy moving house.
Yes, we have.
For Bonnie here and setting up this new filming space. And, you know, it's just been a really big couple of weeks.
It has been massive. But
and
so fun.
I'm pretty sure I've also already told you guys as well that with this new setup, there actually is going to be 2 filming spaces. We've got this filming space, which is Bonnie's house, and then we're also going to have a new one at mine. So that's another little view to come. But we're filming here to start with because this feels like this is like our normal setup.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is familiar.
It's familiar.
Vibe.
It's a little bit different and
A
fun.
little bit different, a little bit familiar.
Yeah, but it's a similar energy.
And then, you know, we sat down 2 days ago to react to the Grammys for Patreon, which we've done for the last 3 years. And there was no inkling in my bones when I woke up on that morning that we were about to enter the era that is TS11. The era that is the tortured
which is that my brand new album comes out April 19th. It's called The Tortured Poets Department. I'm gonna go and post the cover right now backstage. Thank you, I love you. Thank you.
She
What did she just say?
a new album.
Tortured fucking what now?
Tortured Poets is... Oh my god, it's an album cover. It's an album cover. It's an album cover.
Bitches, what the fuck are we gonna do? The Tortured Poets Department.
Bitch. I can't see it. Is that her body?
That is her body.
Oh my god, it's so superior. Oh my god, it's so superior to black and white. That's why it's all black and white. That's why, not because of Reputation. I think that I speak for everyone when we were all prepared for Reputation to be coming next. And at the same time, though, we have talked a lot, especially on Patreon, about how we do feel like she's due for another album in the sense that she's got so much to tell us.
You know, not even from a place of like, you know, we as fans deserve to be updated, because we don't. It's not like we're entitled to that, but more from a perspective of like, we all here as Swifties know that Taylor loves writing autobiographically. She loves to be able to sing songs that feel like they represent who she is today. And we know that she would have gone through so much in her life the last 12 months that is inspiration for her to write about.
We obviously reacted on Patreon. Please make sure you check out our Patreon. There's going to be so much extra content on there over the next few weeks with the Eras Tour.
Yeah.
We're going to the Eras Tour.
Oh my God, guys, we're seeing you next week!
So stay tuned for that. This album is going to absolutely destroy us all. We're not prepared. Every single track title is the most offensive thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
Yeah.
And I actually don't understand how we're supposed to cope.
No, I don't either. We really wanted to sit with you guys today and just discuss all the different theories and maybe expectations and desires for this album to come.
Tortured Poets Department.
What the fuck? I have so many
What
things to
the
say
fuck?
just with this album name.
I feel like it's been a lot for everyone to wrap their heads around.
It
like
really
we keep going to
has.
say Dead Poets Society.
Yeah.
Tortured Poets Department.
Oh, I'm still wrapping my head around it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Guys, what are we going to shorten this to? We've been talking about this. Like, I personally like TPD.
Yeah.
I also like Tortured Poets.
Yeah. Tortured Poets Department doesn't run off the tongue when we in the future start speaking about this album colloquially.
Yeah. Can I just say, first of all, the album cover hit me in the guts. I feel like it's giving raw, vulnerable, and like so stripped back in a way. But
something
also,
that you said the first time we saw it, you also said the word sensual.
Sensual.
Yeah.
Yes, not necessarily sexy.
No.
But intimate and sensual.
Yeah.
But then also the positioning of her arms gives me like pain, guarded, almost like slightly still protective of herself, but also still like she's gonna bear it all to us. Like this kind of like combination of that.
Yeah.
But then the chiffon is like kind of see-through kind of top, which is very sensual but intimate.
Yeah.
And kind of, this is so much imagery already. Like with her, what she wore to the Grammys, it's giving kind of old school Victorian, dark academia is what we're saying.
Almost gothic kind of vibe. But the album cover itself isn't giving that. But
no.
I do wonder how much of her Grammy look will feed into even just like the sound, the general vibe of this album as a whole. Another thing that we immediately picked up on when we saw it is the fact that both the Reputation album cover and this new album cover are that theme of black and white. Now, obviously, as we know, the color that we use to represent Reputation is black, and it definitely feels like this album is like lighter, brighter. Everything that we know about this album so far is giving us the energy that this is going to be a breakup album about the Joe Alwyn relationship. I do find it fascinating that it's like the albums that begin and end their relationship are of this black and white theme.
Totally.
It feels like a full circle situation, and that
almost
feels
like
intentional to me.
Inverted colours as well. Like Reputation was black with white in the background, and then this is white with black in the background.
Yeah. This bitch has a white album. I'm ill.
And also, the back cover of TPD and the back cover of Lover have a lot of similarities, which is interesting.
Yeah.
She's kind of like holding her hand up like fuck my life in TPD, and then in Lover she's like, so people have kind of drawn that comparison, which I think is interesting. Like, is she nodding to both of those two albums, Reputation and Lover? Which makes sense because they're him albums.
Yeah, you're right.
It's also interesting that we were kind of expecting Reputation, but she gave us this instead. Some people are theorizing that we will get Rep first, and she'll give us like the vault tracks, which will kind of preface the beginning of their relationship, and then she'll give us the breakdown of the relationship.
But then I'm also seeing people theorize that maybe she's specifically releasing TS11 now because she wants us to have the full story before we go back to Reputation,
which
and
is
get
iconic.
More vault tracks.
So iconic.
That is fucked up to think about.
I feel like when I first saw the album title, I had two thoughts. First one is obviously Tortured Poets Department. Like, she is a poet. She is going to share her deepest, darkest hurts with us because she's been tortured by the heartbreak of this relationship and the downfall of it. But secondly, that it's a bit of a dig at Joe.
Yeah.
And we've been discussing this, and then since then everyone has caught on that he had a group chat with, you know, Paul Mescal and Andrew something.
Yeah.
And it was called the Tortured Man Club.
Yeah.
But on top of that, I feel like Joe always had a bit of a sad boy kind of vibe about him, a bit of a contrarian vibe about him.
Yeah.
We know from Lyrics in Peace where she says, when your ocean wave blues come.
Yeah.
And, you know, You're Losing Me, like, how long can we be a sad song?
Yeah.
Like,
I even think about the fact that I think we all are sort of thinking on reflection that maybe Renegade is about Joe, and that really touching on like maybe some mental health issues, anxiety, depression, just general down.
Right?
Cast
it's actually
energy.
so fucked up. We're having Fathomings about Renegade and how it's like that link between Evermore and Midnights because it came out in between the two.
Yeah.
Maybe her really starting to fathom some things.
Yeah.
But she kind of just threw it out there without us knowing what or who it was exactly about. She like disguised it almost under like the Big Red Machine label.
Yeah. Going back to the poet thing and Taylor being a songwriter first and therefore, you know, a poet in her own right. I do think it's really interesting how in that little blurb that she put up on Instagram after the album cover says, "My muses acquired like bruises," and I think immediately everyone has connected the muses lyric to the lakes, which is also that tie-in with poets, like where all the poets went to die, the lakes, like it definitely feels like there's a bit of a lake sort of energy there. So I feel like it also could be a nod to just like poets past, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And like the lakes is such a key for that as well. Like my calamitous love. Like, was there always an element of sadness and hardship throughout their relationship? Like, we love writing sad songs together, you know, all these kind of nods that, you know, her saying, I love you, it's ruining my life on that back cover there.
We always say that we learn more about each previous Taylor Swift album with new ones to come. And I don't think that this will be any different. I think that this album is going to reveal so many deeper details of specifically the last few albums since Reputation came out. I think we're going to understand more about Folklore, Evermore, Midnights. Like, I don't see a way in which this album couldn't shed further light on some of the things that she's already told us but we didn't understand with just that one song, to take it in a way that maybe we'll now see things in a new light with new information coming.
Building on that story, building on that feeling. And I think when you've been through a similar experience, you can totally almost like relate and understand that that would be the next progression of something. Which is why it's just so fascinating to be a Taylor Swift fan in general, because she's so good at telling her story and so good at making you feel like you connect to that story.
Absolutely.
It's deeply concerning.
I want to touch on the themes for this album. It's poetry, it's writing. We know that there's a bonus track called The Manuscript. There's very much so this essence of like actual poetry at its core, right? I also am really getting the sense, again, from this little kind of like blurby letter that she put on Instagram, that there is this other element of almost like a police case or file.
And I think that's where the department was coming in for me as well. Like,
it's like a police department.
Like she's almost going to share the evidence, share the files. It's like she's treating this relationship as like a crime case.
Yes. And I think that that's really evident in the fact that she starts it with, and so I enter into evidence. It's like there's a court case being compiled against this person, probably Joe.
Yes, and I really think that obviously Midnights links to this album in so many ways. But particularly Hits Different, You're Losing Me, and Dear Reader. Fuck the fuck up. She obviously says in Hits Different, I trace the evidence. I find the artifacts.
That's another thing, you know, we haven't even spoken about yet, the fact that she said on stage that she's been keeping this a secret from us for 2 years. And that really makes us ponder as to when this album was written. I mean, I think that we were all really taken aback by finding out that You're Losing Me was written in December 2021. But we also know that the beginning of 2022, so it was around that time, was when she was writing Midnights. She said that on the day of Midnights release. Because she was technically still in a relationship with him, she's saved all the real breakup songs for an album that comes after Midnights, which, as we've discussed, we think is more of a breaking down of the relationship. But then it also calls into question, is there a similar sound or is it completely different? Has she written this collection of songs almost for it to be like, in its own way, a sister album to Midnights? Or is there an intentional separation between the two? And that's where I start going, like, has she written songs more recently that are on this album too? Yes, she might have started it 2 years ago, but there could also be songs that she's written in the last year.
I got to announce this new album that I'm so proud of, and I've been keeping it a secret for a while because I've been working on Tortured Poets since right after I turned in Midnights. So you turn in an album months in advance so you can make vinyls, which are the best. And so I started working on it immediately after that, and I've been working on it for about 2 years. I kept working on it throughout the US tour. And
she's given us this confirmation that like, it's just that she's worked on it over the last few years, but some of these songs were written last year.
Can I just say, going back to that two thing? People are theorizing that because she did a little sneaky smirk after she did that might mean something in terms of a double album drop. That's why some people thinking maybe Reputation will come with it to kind of give us more context, or that maybe later on in the year we're going to get another album that's actually more about her current love.
And this is something we've spoken about in depth over the last couple of months as well, because going back to how much inspiration we just know she must have had over the last year with so many different things happening in her
Eras
whole
Tour,
world.
Travis Kelce. When are we going to get the
breakup,
album about
falling in love,
that?
all of that. It's definitely feeling so far with this album, and I think even further, not confirmed, but gives me the feeling when we've got the track list that this is a breakup album, and that there's a very good chance that this won't explore finding herself again, the Eras Tour, falling in love. Like, it feels like that's going to be reserved for an album that's not called the Tortured Poets Department. Like, it feels like she's maybe really needed to round off this chapter of this relationship, and there's a theme here that's going to be along the lines of heartbreak.
Yeah. Is this the year of 2 new albums that are going to catch us up to everything that she's experienced?
Yeah.
But then it's at the same time, it's like, wouldn't she want to finish the re-records while the Eras Tour is happening?
Yeah, while she's still celebrating those specific albums.
So hard to know.
It is, and that's the thing that's so exciting about being a Taylor Swift fan. It's like you were literally always kept on your toes.
Yeah.
Like, once again, so many people thought that it just wouldn't make any sense for her to release a new album in the middle of a tour, and she's doing it.
Yeah.
So there's literally no telling. Like, it might seem like an obvious thing for her to finish the re-recordings while she's celebrating her previous eras, but maybe she just literally won't. I also want to go back to the word tortured in the album title as well, because I think it's really interesting to consider if Taylor herself is the tortured poet.
Yes.
The ways in which she has been tortured and how that will be explored in this album, if at all. Because I think that Taylor Swift is obviously somebody throughout her entire career has written about heartbreak and relationships. And so in that way, you could call her tortured, right? But we also have so many songs about her on a personal level, songs like The Archer, and like even just like Afterglow or Antihero, you know, like that explore her own means of being tortured outside of relationships, just like how she is as a person.
Yes, but I do think that it's interesting because all of those songs are in relation to the Joe and her relationship that she was taking the blame for.
That is true.
Maybe she's done with that.
That's very true. That's a good
like
point.
The Great War, The Archer, Afterglow is all her exploring her own doings.
Yeah.
And maybe now she's realized that it wasn't actually all her.
Yeah.
And that he had a huge role in that.
I also think it's interesting to consider, though, how she's been tortured as somebody who is a very successful, famous artist. Tortured in the way of being abused and... you know, just everything that we always talk about with like Blank Space and Shake It Off and like all of the hate that she's received throughout her entire career for her dating history as well. Like as a public persona, she has definitely been tortured too.
Yeah.
And I do think that that's an interesting tie into the Joe relationship with this narrative that everyone's sort of going with of like, you know, he didn't let her be jeweled. You know, like he wanted this privacy and she maybe wanted to be the big star, and that was a misalignment in their relationship. And so the impact of what her public persona is and how big she is as a famous person ties in well with this concept of being a tortured poet too.
Absolutely.
Should we talk a little bit more about what we think it could sound like?
Yes. And the features? Because I feel like that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah. Oh my God, the features!
Guys, if you have been watching for a while and you're on Patreon, you might know that we have been talking about a Post Malone collaboration ever since they hugged at the 2019 VMAs, is it?
I think it was the VMAs. It might have been the VMAs or the AMAs. Can't remember, but it was during Love Era.
And they had the biggest hug, and I was like to Em, oh my God, that would be my dream come true if they collabed. And it just makes sense. Like, he's a sad boy. He's a sad pop boy. I just feel like they're going to sound so offensive together.
Yeah.
And whatever they make is going to be incredible.
Yeah.
We do feel like there's going to be more of a sensual, dark kind of sound to this album in some way. Like, I don't think it will be as acoustic as Folklore Evermore.
No, but I don't think it's going to be as synth pop as Midnight.
No, I agree.
I think we might be in for maybe a little bit more of an orchestral feel.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe a bit more of a piano feel. But the other thing that's crossing my mind is the fact that both Lana Del Rey and Post Malone have told us that they're doing country albums next.
I know, we're so fucked up about that.
But the fact that both of them, like immediately we got Lana Del Rey vibes, and Lana felt like such a big part of the announcement with them walking the red carpet together at the Grammys, them really matching in the black and the white and all of that. And then seeing Post Malone as the first feature, I just can't, and knowing as well that Lana's next album, which she has said will be country, which she also said she's worked with Jack, and there's no doubt in my mind that Jack Antonoff will be on this album. So is there a country energy amongst this group of musicians that is going to influence this album in some way?
I know, but I just don't get country from looking at the imagery.
I know,
and what she wore and stuff. But I it's going to be really interesting to see the sound. I think that
I do think it's going to be different. Like I think that it might not be a true different genre. Like it might still be, you know, labeled pop or indie or whatever it is in the way that we've had previous albums be labeled in that way. But I do think it's going to feel very different from anything we've gotten from her before.
I completely agree.
And Florence and the Machine as well. And I think Florence and the Machine ties in well with this potential for a Lana Del Rey kind of orchestral piano kind of vibe as well.
And you know what I was thinking about is I feel like, you know, Imogen Heap has that kind of same intensity as Florence. And last time she worked with someone like that, we got Clean. I knew you'd be fucked up.
Cannot believe you just said that to me.
Like,
if this is an album of cleans, God save me.
What if Florence brings a similar energy to that? Like, obviously it's not going to be like Clean, but like, you know, like that haunting vocal that I feel like Imogen brings to Clean.
Yeah.
I feel like Florence is going to do something so concerning. And like both Florence and Post give this dark, sad, almost gothic kind of feel to what the album is gonna be like. Yeah. And I just think that that's gonna be so fucking cool. Yeah. And it's gonna sound so different from anything else she's done. What do you Florence and the Machine?
It's so fucked up.
Wait, I think
also
to talk about the track
I need Aaron Dessner to work on this album.
I agree. Fortnight. I've been thinking about this track a lot. I wonder if, like, you know what I wanted to look up? April 19th. How long after was that we got, like, how long after was that from when we got the news that they broke up? Because in my head, I'm like, what if, like, it starts with, like, it's been a fortnight kind of energy? And we know that April 19th was the night that she went out with Ryan and the gang, and that's when they all unfollowed Joe.
That was the day that the friends started unfollowing Joe Alwyn, starting with Ryan Reynolds.
A year later, she's giving us this album. I almost feel like she's being like, I'm letting you guys in, like I did my friends that night, on why the relationship ended. And that's
honestly,
so
I think whilst we're here talking about April 19th as well, I think it's really important to also talk about the fact that everybody's figured out that April 19 is the date that is given to the beginning of the American Revolution, which ultimately led to American independence from Britain. And is this
London
meant to
boy?
be Taylor's literal Miss Americana is gaining independence from the London boy.
So offensive. Do I actually can't with that?
So isn't it also something fucked up like World Poetry Day or something?
Yes.
How
does this all work for her?
I swear to God, this universe was created for Taylor Swift.
It's Taylor Swift's world, and we're actually just all living in it.
It looks like, from what I can see, it looks like the first reports were around the 8th of April. You know, if they had actually finally called it off a few days before the news hit, it could be about a fortnight.
It is about a fortnight.
And can I just say as well, something that I want to touch on. Yeah, I think you did. Something that I really want to touch on though, that I have seen some people talk about, is that fortnight, the word, is not actually something that's used in America either. I also thought that was interesting given that it's specifically not an American thing, but it is a British thing. Is that another tie into Joe being British?
That's very interesting
Yeah.
indeed. I can't wait to see how the fortnight concept comes to life in that way. And if like almost like, I feel like that would really make sense with the release date, her being like, it happened a fortnight ago and this is where we're starting. You know, we're starting when I told my friends, just like I'm going to tell you. And that's the beginning of the album.
But also, if this album track list has been laid out chronologically in order of events, I wonder as well if fortnight being the beginning of the story, maybe a couple weeks after they finally ended the relationship, or just the beginning of that breakup, is that why Post Malone is the feature on that? Because he can be the male voice when the male voice still exists in some way.
I'm gonna tie it, their collaboration.
Wait, can we talk about the fact that the fucking album opener is a collab? She's never done that before.
Oh my God, and then track 2 is the title track, which is obviously going to be the most superior thing we've ever heard. You know what track 2
genuinely didn't think that this album would have a title track, because when I heard that album name, I was like, that seems so specific to an album concept. And also, like, I cannot even begin to fathom
how she's going to say
how
it,
that gets written into a song. But also, You're on Your Own Kid exists.
Literally.
So she's going to do it.
And The Last Great American Dynasty exists.
Do you know what?
Like, how is she, like...
Yeah.
Like, she's going to say something so fucked up we don't even know.
I think as well that having a title track for this album is really fucking great, because I think that whatever she says in that specific song is going to help us understand with even more detail what this concept is, what the Tortured Poets department means to her.
Yes.
Yeah.
What the fuck is track 3? Oh my God, my boy only breaks his favorite toys. Guys, she's coming for Joe Alwyn's head and heart. Like, I'm sorry. That is just...
Oh my God, what the fuck? These track names are fucked up! I need you to just keep going. Okay. My boy only breaks his favorite toys. Straight off the bat, my initial thought was she has to be the toy, right?
And he broke her.
Yep.
But she's his favorite.
Yeah.
Because he only hurts... It's giving like he only hurts the people closest to him.
Yeah.
It's giving renegade.
It's giving renegade, you're right. But I also can't help but link it back to Bad Boy Shiny Toy with a Price. Just that lyrical connection between the word toy I find interesting. And you know, it is just so fascinating that Cruel Summer exists. Cruel Summer as a song existing, which we believe it to mean that it was almost like a rocky patch before they actually committed to one another.
Like cruel and tortured, like those two words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also kind of giving me, this is why we can't have nice things.
Yeah.
Like in the sense that it's just like, you are so unhinged in your own way.
You can't even
that
have...
like, I can't trust you
You're right.
to have delicate toys or nice things or
you
whatever.
Can't love
like
me.
Down bad.
This one's so interesting, right? Because I feel like everyone's been using this wording with Taylor and Travis a lot. Like, she's down bad. Like,
like really falling head over heels for him.
Like in a good way. So it's interesting to see if this is going to be a positive or a negative song.
Yeah.
Because I immediately get positive vibes from that, but I don't really know how that's going to fit into this
My
story.
understanding of the phrase down bad is usually always associated with a falling in love or like kind of just being a bit head over heels like very soon kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it is interesting because I think that if there is going to be a song about her new relationship on this album, this might be it. But I also can't help but wonder both if the down bad could be...
I'm down bad, like I'm sad.
Yeah, like a depressive thing, like I am down bad.
Yeah.
But also, could it be like at the beginning stages of the breakup kind of thing? Could it be like almost a similar concept to that little thing that she put up on the back of the album cover? It's like, I love you, it's ruining my life. It's like, this is not working for me, but I'm down bad for you, that I can't break it off.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I feel like she was down during 2022. Like, it reminds me of that TikTok that she put up being like, it's just a little thing, I'll see you soon. Like, she was sad then, and she was sad during that speech that she did for NYU. Like, there's so many signs of her being upset that year. Yeah. So it's going to be really interesting to see.
Yeah, I agree.
What that one is at So Long London.
The fact that track 5 is called So Long London.
Help us all.
So Long London. has got to be the song I'm most excited for.
Yeah, same.
Like, what the fuck is she going to say? It's very transparent what she means.
Yes.
Like, goodbye, Joe Alwyn.
Goodbye, Joe Alwyn. Obviously, Joe is British. She has, London Boy on Lover.
Yeah. But wait, can I just say though?
She's never going to London again.
Can I just say though, there is a part of me that wonders if it might potentially be a Coney Island vibe, in the sense that multiple of her relationships leading up to Joe Alwyn were with people who were British. Harry Styles, Calvin Harris, Tom Hiddleston, Joe Alwyn. Yeah. Is this like a so long to boys from there?
That area,
Is this a so long to the entire region because I am done with men from London?
It will be interesting if it's like more of a poppy upbeat song where she's kind of shading all of her ex-boyfriends being like so long London, or it could be really sad I
think being a track 5, I'm definitely leaning more towards it being singularly about Joe Alwyn.
You're right, and being really hard
and really vulnerable.
And really sad, like almost like, I feel like the so long, it's not goodbye London, or it's not like see ya London.
Yes.
It's so long.
Yes.
Like it's mournful, it's sad, it's devastating.
Yes.
I feel like it's gonna fuck us up.
I think it's gonna fuck us up too. Straight off the bat, I'm thinking I can't help but feel like it's going to have a similar energy to Mighty's Ricochet and Tolerate It.
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to be that energy of track 5.
I agree. Absolutely concerning. Deeply alarming.
This track list is the most fucked up thing I've ever seen in my whole life.
I actually think that this is the most anticipated track list I've ever seen for a lot of us.
I have never needed to know what these songs detail
as much as this
one.
And I think like this is the most anticipated album since Reputation for that reason, right? Like there's so much we don't know that she needs to fill us in on. But also this is her first breakup album since Red.
Well, yeah, I think that the albums that have come since Reputation, like whether we were consciously aware of it or not as a fandom, there's some semblance of safety or security in knowing that the songs we're going to get from Taylor are coming from a place of what we perceive to be a healthy, happy, loving relationship.
No, it's actually concerning. Like, what
track 6 is But Daddy, I Love Him. And I have to fucking tell you things about this.
Yeah, please tell me things.
Because I did not think about this. People have been saying some fucking
Oh my god, what?
Okay.
Can I tell you what I immediately thought?
Okay, yeah, cool, yeah, please.
Because obviously we're just gonna go with the basic first thoughts was like Daddy, I love him, obviously her dad, Scott.
Yeah.
And the first thing I thought of was that Scott has just literally never paid any attention to Joe. Like, I don't think we've ever seen them
but immediately
in the same
has
room
to Travis.
or in the same thing. And he literally switched his lifelong legacy of teams football for Travis, within like a snap of his finger, and we've seen them together all the fucking time. So I'm just saying it right now, Scott is a Travis
that
stan.
On your exact point just there, some people on our Patreon have said, what if it's actually a love song about Travis? And she's saying, but Daddy, I love him. He plays for the Chiefs even though you go for the Eagles. This is what fucked me up though, and I feel like it really fits in with the theme of things that I have to say about other songs to come, but also things that we've already spoken about. So people have made the connection that phrase, but Daddy, I love him, is a quote from The Little Mermaid, and Ariel loses her voice to be with the man she loves. Oh my fucking god, I know!
And she wore
Yes,
the Little
she
Mermaid
wore The Little
at her
Mermaid.
birthday party. Oh my god, what year was that? 2019?
I'm not sure. It was 2019! Well, actually, it was Oh no, it was a New Year's party.
Yeah, New Year's. New Year's Day? Wait, what if she's signaling to like her being dressed up as Little Mermaid and that was her silent error? And
the losing her voice, the not being bejeweled whole situation, the being in private.
That is going to actually be so much cheaper.
And I need you to say that the losing your voice thing is a theme that there are other theories of for other songs that have really fucked me up. Okay. So this could be a theme of the album, like the silencing to make him happy.
Oh, with the Clara Bow, because she's for the silent film. Oh my god. Wait, we'll get to that.
Yeah. But yes. Oh my God. I just had a look at my notes from what other people on Patreon were saying as well, and something that I forgot to say when we were talking about Fortnite is that somebody made the connection that Midnights, in Taylor's words, is the story of 13 sleepless nights throughout her life, and Fortnite is maybe the 14th night.
Oh my God, that's fucked up. Like a continuation.
Yeah. The next song is Fresh Out the Slammer.
No, this one fucked us up when we fathomed.
Holy fucking shit. So the first thing that I've seen so many people make the connection with is like the slammer being a jail, and she says in Ready for It, he can be my jailer.
No.
Which almost feels to me like another tie-in to this silencing.
Yes.
I'm hiding behind
hid
closed
away.
doors.
Yeah.
I won't be public with this relationship. This is what you want.
And she thought it was right for her at the time.
And I'm happy to go along with it. He can be my jailer, but she's not in that mindset anymore.
No, it's actually so concerning. The first thing that I thought about was that night when we first saw her after the breakup, and she was wearing the butterfly jeans and she was like walking the street. It's like fresh out of the slammer, like the slammer being this jail of her relationship for the last 6 years.
Yeah.
And she said in that interview that she'd never get those years back. Like we knew then and there that she was fucking coming for him, because I was like,
yeah, she said
shit.
that in the Time Person of the Year interview, didn't she? Yeah.
Like she's been locked away and she'll never get that time back.
But
That's
I really
jail.
like this as a concept, because I think either way it's touching on this feeling like she's been jailed or locked away in this relationship. But I like the tie-in with her like wearing like the revenge outfit kind of thing, because I feel like when I look at this track list, I struggle to find where I think the more upbeat moments will come, and I think that could be it. And it kind of makes sense to me as well that there could be like almost like we follow like maybe a natural progression of processing and grief.
Yes.
Like immediate, like when you're fresh out the slammer,
that's when everything
all you can think about is how happy you feel that you've got that freedom. So maybe it's going to be a really celebratory, like, holy fucking shit, I'm back.
Totally.
Kind of song.
Think about what she was like those first few months, going out with her friends. Remember when she was out? Like, we literally knew it then and there. We were saying on Patreon, we're like, no, she's free.
Yeah.
Like, it's obvious in her energy. She is bejeweled.
Yeah.
Wait, is it just
oh my
me,
God.
or
Even that lyric in Bejeweled, don't put me in the basement.
Yes.
It's like another form of jail. Oh my God. The next song is Florida, featuring Florence and the Machine. The next one is Florida with 3 exclamations. Featuring Florence and the Machine.
We were fathoming that Florida was the first show she did on the Eras tour after the breakup was announced.
Yeah. And I feel like the way it's written with the 3 exclamations, once again, it's giving me that energy that maybe like Fresh Out the Slammer and Florida is like that period where it's like fucking freedom. I feel so great.
Yeah, because they're one after another as well. So that's really cool. So it's like that weekend continuing on.
Yeah.
And then it's got Florence. So what is it going to be? Is it going to be that freedom? Is it going to be like that liberation? Is it going to be sad? Is it going to be like, I'm so excited for that actually. Like
Florida,
it's almost like she's yelling at Florida.
Yes, yes. I think that it might be the one that I'm feeling the most like I don't know exactly what to expect from you.
But I'm excited to fathom it. I'm so excited,
so
especially with the Florence feature. Like I'm so sorry.
No.
They're going to do something so deeply superior.
Yeah. No, it's going to be fucking illegal. The next song is Guilty as Sin.
Oh my God, I was thinking.
But Guilty as Sin?
Guilty as Sin, question mark.
Guilty as Sin?
Yeah. I actually was looking this up last night because I was really trying to understand, like, that saying guilty as sin is like pretty much being like completely guilty, right?
Yeah.
Like, you just without even
it also
question.
ties into this concept of like a
Evidence.
police case.
But question mark, yes. So is it like, you think I'm guilty as sin? Is it you're actually guilty as sin? Like, I really want to know.
Yeah, I'm
where
wondering
that's
if it's
gonna
more
go.
commentary on the media and the public, like almost hurling abuse at her. And she's like, are you saying that I'm guilty as sin because I'm not guilty of anything or whatever it is? I've also seen some people theorize with this song, which is something that you and I haven't spoken about specifically, if we even feel like this could be something that even gets touched on. This could be a song about Maddie Healy. is what I've seen some people say.
Oh, interesting.
Especially, again, if this is chronological and it's sort of coming straight after those, like, you know, the happier breakup songs, the freedom kind of breakup songs, if that's what they are. And, I mean, we know all the shit that was being, you know, like, unveiled about him and things that he'd said in the past and stuff like that. Like, so maybe it's like he's guilty of some shit that, like, she doesn't want any part of that.
Totally. And following it with Who's Afraid of Little Old Me is very interesting as well, because it's like, I wonder if that's going to be commentary around almost like, you know, people not being able to be with her because of her fame and her impact, like kind of like maybe like an anti-hero. Like,
I also find this song really, really interesting to pick. Who's Afraid of Little Old Me? I don't know. It could be a really empowering anthem.
Yeah.
Like, she thinks that you're a bit pathetic if you're afraid of her or whatever. But it also could be a self-loathing kind of vibe. Or I actually don't even know exactly fully what she means by that.
No, me either. And that's why I'm comparing it to Anti-Hero, because that one really fucked me up with that as well. Like,
which is also kind of along the lines of self-loathing.
Self-loathing and like, who's afraid of little old me?
So something that I wanted to bring up with this one that I've seen quite a few people talk about too, which you may not have seen, is that a lot of people are linking that track name to the movie Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, which stars Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton. Burton to this Taylor.
Oh my God. I don't know. That one's a very intriguing song to me.
It's very intriguing.
I can't wait to fathom what that one's about.
I just can't believe that someday soon we're going to have all of these answers. It's a lot! We got it! Okay. No, the next one.
Oh my God, what's the next one?
Oh my God, the next one is called I Can Fix Him. No, really I can.
This is the song that's going to ruin me, and I will simply not survive it.
This is the one I think I'm most excited for after So Long London.
I think this is my number one most excited for.
What the fuck is she gonna say?
I'm so glad it's at this point in the album, because I won't hear the rest of the album because I'll die.
Yeah.
This will be the end of me. I think that every girl has related to this feeling before, so I feel like it's going to be like a you're on your own kid kind of situation.
It feels like a universal experience amongst women that they feel like they can fix men.
Yes, and that they've tried.
Yeah. It's also giving Renegade.
It's also giving Renegade.
Yeah.
I can fix him.
Get your shit together so I can love you.
Is it insensitive for me to say she's almost already exhausted in Renegade? Your ocean wave blues.
Your ocean wave blues.
Sad.
That lyric in Peace also is, in my opinion, is written in a way that feels like this happens somewhat frequently.
Yeah.
Like,
and they're waves.
Cascade ocean wave blues come.
Yes, cascade. Intense.
And
big.
Also, I guess in the lakes as well, My Calamitous Love.
And insurmountable grief. I know that that's also a nod to the re-records, but or losing the masters. But My Calamitous Love is like, I'm dealing with two things here: this calamitous love and my insurmountable grief.
Interesting. No, that song, it also could be really sarcastic. And that's where I also wonder if it would be more of an upbeat song. So, like, I can fix him. No, really, I can. Like, maybe she's coming at it from a more sarcastic angle with this specific song.
Which would also be deeply iconic.
Yeah, it would. Okay, the next song is LOML.
Yes. Which everyone thinks is an abbreviation for Love of My Life.
Yes.
It'd be really funny if it wasn't.
So, this is something that I want to tell you that people have been talking about.
Okay.
It feels intentional that she has given it the abbreviation rather than the elongated version of what we think should be obvious, which is Love of My Life. Maybe she's abbreviated it because she will change the abbreviation throughout the song. Like, he was the love of her life. Now he's the loss of her life, or the lie of her life. She could change it throughout the song.
That is so concerning.
Yeah, it's so fucking concerning. Oh my God. I've also seen theories that it's the only song on this album that's not capitalized. It's all lowercase. And I've seen people theorize that maybe it's intentionally done that way to separate it from the rest of the track list, because this is the only song about Travis.
that would be fucking superior.
Yeah.
Oh my God, track 13. Wait, it's track 13 as well.
It's
oh my
track
God.
13.
Oh my God, I can do it with a broken heart. This is one of the other ones that we're really excited for. I was saying to Em that I feel like this is about the Eras tour.
Yeah.
Like her actually pumping herself up to do it.
Yeah.
I can do this with a broken heart.
Yeah.
We know she was sad those
Like,
those
I can
first
sing
few months.
Lover with a broken
Yes.
heart. You know? I can go out and live my life publicly again with a broken heart.
Totally.
I can go on this tour with a broken heart.
And I feel like it being track 13 is that little nod towards the fans as well.
I agree. And also just a general nod towards her being like her
Herself,
lucky number. So
yeah.
I can't help but feel like there's going to be an uplifting
Yes, I agree.
energy to it.
I think that we really wanted, an Eras Tour song or just like something acknowledging like where she's at and what she's doing right now
Yeah.
whilst she's having a broken heart.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like we've talked about how we feel like in a way like the fans have helped heal that throughout this tour.
100%.
In the same way that it happened for Reputation Tour as well,
Yeah.
like her, but healing a different thing.
Yeah. Completely
I'm so
agree.
excited for that one.
The smallest
smallest
man
man
who ever lived. Help.
What?
The fact that this comes so towards the end of the album really makes me think it's going to be a massive fucking dig.
I agree.
Because I feel like it would, again, if this is chronological, this is the point at which she gives no fucking fucks about you, bro.
Totally. And you know what it reminds me of? Your integrity makes me seem small. Makes me feel small.
Seem. Yeah.
In Peace, once again, Pieces.
Peace is fucking
Peace is like-
concerning.
So much to break down.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's going to be a flip on that because she used to say that your integrity makes me seem small. Like maybe there's going to be a flip and her be like, actually, that was fucked of you to make me feel that way. It was because you were so small.
Yeah.
That you needed to make me feel that way.
Yeah. Even a line like, I talk shit with my friends, it's like I'm wasting your honor. Like,
Yeah.
I think that
That's
I
what she was
always took that
feeling.
lyric to be that she, again, it's more like a self-loathing thing, like just a how she feels about
Yeah.
herself and how much she builds him up because she feels like he's this incredible person.
What it's actually telling us is that he was judging her and she felt judged in that relationship. Also, I don't know if you fathomed like the loudest woman this town has ever seen and like the smallest man that ever lived. Iconic.
Oh my God, that's a what? Did you say? I need to talk about the alchemy.
Oh my God, yes. Please.
That is the most concerning fucking track name because I didn't fucking realize until everybody started getting online and theorizing yesterday and making the connection that alchemy is trying to turn something that's not gold into gold. And how many references do we have
About him
to
being
Joe
gold.
being gold throughout Taylor's discography? I even think about the invisible string, one single thread of
Everything
gold tied me to you. The invisible string never existed.
Oh
You
my
were actually
God.
just a piece of shit, but like golden tattoo.
Yeah,
There's
you-
so many lyrics in rep specifically.
Yeah, and Golden, Daylight.
That's probably the most
think
important
that
one.
I think that she might be like, I thought it was real, but it was like a trick. Yeah. Or that maybe she realized that he was only golden because she was making that way. Because she's the alchemist.
She's the alchemist.
And it reminds me of Mastermind and even Willow.
Wait, I didn't think about that. You're right. It could take more of an angle of her being like, I make
made you
things gold.
I make things gold.
Not just like a false god kind of concept where it's like, I thought that you were gold, but you're not.
Yeah.
It's actually like, no, I am the reason
am-
that this relationship
yeah.
was great.
Yeah. I'm the best thing at this party.
I am so excited to hear that song.
The theme of this being that dark kind of, I don't know, it's got a witchy vibe to it already, and like the dark academia and like the tortured and
Yeah.
the poets and then the crime
Yeah.
investigation, like and then that linking back to like the war imagery that she used so much with Joe, like
Yeah.
there's just so many layers and connections. Because actually I was gonna say in that little blurb she says the code, that's where she says the coat of arms.
Yes, she does. She says, my tarnished coat of arms.
Yeah.
My muses acquired like bruises, my talismans and charms.
What's talisman?
I don't know. Let's have a look.
Oh, like jewelry.
Yeah, an object described with religious or magical powers intended to protect, heal, or harm individuals for whom they are made.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah, okay, like protection jewelry, kind of like her evil eyes that she's been wearing.
Oh my god, and she has been wearing evil eyes. That's interesting.
My talisman and charms. Also, it's giving witchy vibes, you know, like my charms to protect me, like alchemy.
Yeah.
And the tick, tick, tick of the love bombs, war imagery, bomb.
Yeah.
The coat of arms.
My veins are pitch black ink.
That
is
so
very
fucked
interesting.
up. That's literally like this darkness has taken over me.
Yeah.
Like I am so down bad.
It even kind of reminds me of now I just sit in the dark and wonder if it's time.
Yes. And then obviously all's fair in love and poetry. Is this the most concerning sign off? Because we know that it means I'm coming.
Yeah.
To tell it all. And that's where that
anything's fair game
you know,
here.
It's I'm putting the whole
But also,
case.
isn't the original phrase all's fair in love and war?
She's been fucking telling their story through poetry this whole time, but using war as a
And
metaphor.
is this the war?
This is the
She's
war.
like, once again, I'm coming for you.
Yeah. But her war is through poetry.
We need to talk about Clara Bow.
We need to talk.
So, guys, when we first saw the track list yesterday, immediately we were like, who was Clara Bow? And we looked her up. And we only really read about like a really small little blurb that she was an actress during the silent film era.
And that she was labelled the first It Girl.
And that she was labelled the It Girl.
Yeah.
So I think our immediate takeaway was like, Taylor is now the It Girl.
Yeah.
Like maybe there's a real connection between them in that way.
Yeah.
But then you just clocked earlier
silent
film thing and the silencing. I need to talk about this because there's been so many fucking offensive things that people have been saying about this that has made me so ill. So not only was she an actress like initially during the silent film era, which again is that connection to being silent during their relationship, she's also one of the very few actresses that successfully made the transition to talkies. Talking again.
Oh my god.
Finding her voice. Taylor is now finally able to speak. There's so many scary connections between Clara Bow and Taylor Swift that I need to tell you about. Apparently she also faced a lot of public speculation into her private and dating life, which actually led to her having a mental breakdown. Perfectly reminds me of the Reputation era in which they met. Clara Bow's star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame is on the corner of Sunset and Vine, which is that link to Gorgeous, which is supposedly the song that details the first time they ever met, her and Joe. And that's interesting not only because of the Sunset and Vine lyric, but also another lyric in Gorgeous is "You've ruined my life by not being mine," and now she's saying "I love you, it's ruining my life."
Oh my god, that progression from Gorgeous to this.
Yeah. And I also think that it's very interesting that it's the technical album closer.
Yeah.
There's very clearly very many connections between the two of them, which I think will probably be explored in this song, but I do think the culminating message makes sense to me to link back to being the It Girl.
Yeah.
Because that feels like an appropriate closure to this breakup situation.
Yeah.
It's like she's found herself again as the It Girl.
She is
and
the
it being a
jewels.
positive spin on it.
Yeah, but also the manuscript being the bonus track is also so concerning because when you really think about manuscript, it's like this raw, unpublished version of the story. Concerning.
Yeah, makes us think that it's going to be a deeply unfiltered song.
Yes.
That tells us things that maybe she never planned on telling us before.
Yes, and I feel like Dear Reader being the end of Midnights and then Manuscript being the end of the next album, like she was almost like prefacing so much in that Dear Reader.
Well, I
so
even think this
concerning.
album just being called, like, including the word poet, which is that link to, like, writing and literature, it's deeply concerning that the last album ends with Dear Reader and the next album is, like, something that you would read, a poem.
That's so fucking true. Oh my god, she was prefacing us with Dear Reader.
Yeah.
She literally told us in Dear Reader, don't believe everything I say.
Because I'm going to tell you in the next album.
Yeah.
Don't believe this
she's
one.
almost like, don't even think you know the whole story.
Yeah. Dear Reader is a deeply fucking concerning song. And the way it seems to be linking into this album is not
Her mind
okay.
is not okay. It's not okay.
It's not oh my God. I'm actually so ill.
It will be so interesting if we get a Travis album at the end of the year and it's like completely the opposite, like the most happy dance party kind of like think of how Travis makes her feel in comparison to this tortured. It's also just a lot that she's dating like the biggest American football star, if it's linked to this like American independence and stuff as well, because it's like Miss Americana really coming home and really back with her roots.
You're right. Can I just say, I really am so shocked that we got a track list so soon. And there is speculation that maybe it was leaked and that's why we have gotten it so soon. Whether that's true or not, I'm not 100% sure. But what I will say is that I love that this album rollout already feels quite different to Midnight's. We haven't waited at all for the full track list. And, you know, even if she'd waited a couple months, maybe she could have given it to us all at once like she's done with this versus like, you know, every day there's another Midnight's Mayhem video.
Yeah, I agree. And I wonder if she's going to give us a single. Like, you know, the whole dropping the album all at once has been working so well for her last 3 albums.
Yeah.
And I kind of like it. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, sometimes having a single is fun, but also sometimes, especially when it's like these kind of albums which like tell such a vivid story.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, sometimes it's just nice to start that chapter at the beginning and go through the whole thing on the same day. Like, getting one single always makes some part of the story stand out, and I love that about Folklore Evermore and Midnight's that we don't have that.
Yeah, I agree. It also just, I think, can deepen your attachment to every single song on the album in a way that, like, you know, like, my attachment to Shake It Off is very different to the rest of 1989 because it was the lead single, and so I always see it in this like separate way to the rest of the album, but we don't have that with the last 3 albums, which is really nice. In saying that, I do think it would be great to further the difference in her recent album rollouts and do a new single.
I'm happy with whatever she does because we don't have to wait that long. I can't wait to see which one has a music video.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. I can't wait to see which one is going to be a single. Like, there will be a single or two at some point. But, like, what the fuck ones are they?
What the fuck ones are they?
I literally cannot fucking believe that we are on the brink of hearing TS11. Guys, this is going to be our 4th brand new Taylor Swift album that we've reacted to here on this channel altogether, and the 8th overall if you include the 4 re-recordings that we've had. And that is just so wild. Like, we started this channel in 2020 and there is no way in hell that we went into making this channel thinking that we'd have 8 Taylor Swift albums to react to up until now. We might have been in the past lucky to get 2 at this point.
Guys, I just know that this album is going to be the best album she's ever written.
I actually think it is.
Why, but it just is.
Oh my God. Do you know what we also need to talk about?
Hear the sound.
What she's going to do with the Eras tour with this album.
Yes.
Like, something that we've spoken about with this concept. Oh my God, it is.
Guys, we react to the Eras tour on our Patreon.
We do.
So check it out.
Something that we had spoken about in some of our surprise song reaction videos when we were pondering on whether or not she would give us TS11 this year is whether or not she will actually maybe condense some of the other eras on the Eras tour to create a new era for this album. But then the question is, where does that era go?
Maybe she simply will just do a longer show.
Maybe she will, but I still think the question stands what eras it will be slotted between, because I don't think it'll be as simple as ending it with this new album.
I agree.
Especially if the vibe and the melancholia.
We can't tell until we hear it, right?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is it going to sound like?
Yeah.
Does it have a track on there that you could end a tour with?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Or is it going to be this more darker kind of vibe that, like, maybe is not going to have the upbeat songs needed to end the entire Eras tour?
Maybe she'll end it with I Can Do It With a Broken Heart.
If that song is actually about fucking doing all of this with a broken heart and it's upbeat, that would be the most superior thing that she could do.
Did you hear my melody that I just
you just created the song. Thank you so much.
Not gonna sound like that.
Europe. you guys are gonna fucking get it. You guys are going to get whatever this potential new show looks like. No, I'm solo, guys.
I'm so
our
we
first
simply need to be
shows
going to
are
Europe.
next week. Yeah.
Simply need to be going to Europe. I just have never been so excited for a tracklist in my entire life of being
I'm
alive.
actually ill. I just never could have ever predicted that this is the life that we'd be living at the beginning of 2024. New house, new era.
Our white era.
Our white era.
Oh my
Bless
God.
you and thank you so much.
The visuals are just the best thing I've ever seen. Guys, I just don't know what else to say. We've ranted on for 2 hours.
We
Hopefully
have.
this was fun for you guys. Let us know what else you want.
Yes.
Leading
Oh my
up to
God,
this
please.
album. Let us know your theories and thoughts down below. We're so excited to go into a new era with you guys. Thank you for being here. Welcome to our new space.
I feel so blessed to be sharing an 8th Taylor Swift album with you guys.
So blessed.
Like,
so blessed.
I don't
where's our
understand what we did to
lives?
deserve this.
I know.
Having you guys, but also having Taylor Swift give us so much content.
I agree. It's just the best. It's just the best.
It's the best. Love you guys so much, and we'll see you soon for another video.
Bye.